If you have $2,000 to invest in a bond fund and you expect the rate of return to be 3% compounded annually and the inflation rate to be 2%, what should the value of that investment be in 5 years based on today's dollars? So what you're doing here is you're saying, okay, I have $2,000 and I'm going to invest in a bond fund. So after I invest it, what will it be worth in terms of today's dollars? And this is a good strategy for making investments. Ideally, you want your money to be worth more in the future than its present value today. That would be a good investment. A bad investment would be if the present value turned out to be less for your investment than it is with the money you start with. Okay, so there are two formulas that we need here. The first one is the actual growth rate. G equals R minus A divided by 1 plus A. And the R is the interest, and the A is the amount of inflation. The other formula, once we find out that growth rate is this compounding formula, it's basically exponential growth. So the P is the principal, or the amount of money you start with, and the G is the growth rate. And the T is the time in years. Okay, now we actually know all this information. We know that you're starting with $2,000, that's principal. And we know the interest rate is going to be 3% or 0.03. The inflation rate is 2% or 0.02. The time in years is going to be 5. And then we can calculate the growth rate based on the interest rate and the inflation. And then we can figure out what the present value of that money is. So we'll do the growth rate first. So it's going to be 0.03 minus 0.02 divided by 1 plus 0.02. I can simplify this. 0.03 minus 0.02 is 0.01 divided by 1 plus 0.02, which is just 1.02. Okay, so that's my overall growth rate. Let's go to the calculator. 0.01 divided by 1.02, 0.00980. That's not even 1%, and 1% growth is a little bit okay, but it's not very good. So I'm assuming the present value here won't be awesome, but let's go ahead and figure it out anyway. Now we're going to use this formula here. So the principal is $2,000, then times 1 plus 0.00980, and that's going to be to the 5th power because it's 5 years. I'm just going to simplify this a little bit because the 1 plus 0.00980, that's easy to simplify. So it's going to be 2,000 times 1.00980 to the 5th. Okay, so that's going to be the present value of that investment. Let's go to the calculator. 1.00980 to the 5th power, and then times the $2,000. Okay, so I'm actually going to round this. It's $2,099.94. I'm just going to round it to $2,100. Okay, so what does this mean? This means if you take your $2,000 and you invest it in a 3% return with inflation rate of 2% over 5 years, that would be the same thing as having $2,100 right now. Okay, so that in 5 years, that spending power will be $2,100 of today's money. You do actually end up making a little bit of money in the long term. If this value is less than $2,000, you would actually be losing a little bit of money over the long term.